welcome to Blossom Sandwich Sews. My name is Yvette and today I'm going to be chatting about the knitting and stitching show and showing you my big haul of everything that I bought when I was visiting. So the knitting and stitching show is kind of like a big exhibition of all things knitting and sewing. So like dressmaking, quilting, crochet, knitting, like all the sort of textile crafts. So this is a programme which I paid extra for, but it's quite good if you want to remember like the businesses afterwards, because there's quite a lot of different companies that come with their stalls to like exhibit their products. And I mean, you could buy all of it, but it gets a bit pricey. So yeah, sometimes you see stuff that's really interesting, but you just can't get it right then. So it's good to have a little sort of directory of all different companies related to the crafts that you're interested in. And also the program comes with a map as well. So if there's someone particular or like a particular business or product that you want to find, you can look up what number their stall is on the map. So my strategy when I went into the knitting and stitching show, so this I should say this was at Alexandra Palace. So I went on the 10th of October, yeah, the Sunday. So I'm a bit late in filming this, but I wanted to be able to properly show you all the things that I had bought there. So yeah, they had like slots where you can arrive. So my slot I think was like 10:30, so I managed to get there. It was quite a journey for me, so I don't live too far out of London, but because it was a Sunday there was like something happening with the trains, so I had to get a bus and then a train and then a tube and then another tube and then there was going to be another bus, but I was like, I'm just going to walk, get some fresh air, because I was a bit sick of public transport by that time. So then I walked, which wasn't that far, but it was obviously up the hill because Alexandra Palace is on top of the hill. So I was a bit hot by the time I arrived. But yeah, I did get there in time anyway. And it was definitely worth the trip. So yeah, my strategy when I arrived was that I was going to first look around all the stalls before buying anything so that I could get an idea of what was there and not like rush into buying something, then see something similar on a different stall that was like more what I wanted or a better price or whatever. So I was like, I'm just going to look around, see what's there, and then start buying, which was a great strat. But then there was so much there that it took me quite a long time just to like walk around. So there was one main hall. So I looked all around like all of the stalls. I kind of had a where I'd go like up one row and then down the other side and sort of snaked up and down so I wouldn't miss anything. So I did all of that and then I sat down and then was like, oh, hang on a minute. I saw on Instagram there were a couple of other businesses that said they were coming and I haven't seen them yet. How did I miss them? And then it turned out there was a whole second room with loads more stuff in. So then I was like, okay, I'll go back around all of these ones as well then. So yeah, that was really good fun, looking around all the stalls and just sort of seeing what was there. And then I had a little break for lunch. I just brought a sandwich with me, although they did have like, you could buy pizzas there, like hot pizzas. So yeah, that was quite good. If anyone had a pizza there, let me know how it was. There was a good queue for it, so I'm sure it was good. But yeah, everyone there was really friendly, like all the stall owners, and also got to meet up with a few people that I know from Instagram as well. So that was really nice. So yeah, I know you probably want me to get on with showing you what I got. So let's get cracking. So what should I start with? I think I'll start with the little things. So this is my bag that I brought. I brought it with me. And I thought it was the most appropriate one. Life is too short for boring fabric, which I got from Hey Sew Sister. So I'm going to show you first the like notions and small things that I got. So let's see what we've got. All right, so they're all in like cute little bags that the stall owners, were packing things in. So that was really cute. So the first one, this isn't in any particular order. This is just how I'm going to pull them out of the bag. So the first one is some labels from Little Rosy Cheeks. Creativity never goes out of style. And I just thought the black and the gold always look really good together. And yeah, I chatted quite a bit to Victoria, who runs Little Rosy Cheeks, and she was really lovely and friendly as well. So yeah, that was the first thing I'm showing you. I have quite a lot of labels that I sew in my makes. I don't always remember to. And Little Rosy Cheeks does have loads of really nice labels, but I just got the one pack because I didn't want to break the bank on too many labels. And then Little Rosy Cheeks was also sharing a stall with Jen from Generates. So I don't know if you've seen these things, but they're quite genius, actually. So these are something that I'd seen online, but I was a bit like, what are all these little circles about? So these are for adding seam allowance to your patterns. So if you get, especially with the magazines like Fibre Mood, often the patterns that you trace don't come with seam allowance, and it's a bit of a pain to add the seam allowance evenly all around. So these are like little circles, and you can put your pencil or pen or friction pen or whatever in the hole, and then you run so say my finger's the edge of the pattern, and then you run the circle along the edge of the pattern, and it perfectly adds your seam allowance in the right size. So there's all different sizes. So I think it's from like 0.5 centimeters, a little tiny baby one, all the way up to 4 centimeters, I think. So yeah, I thought that was really cool, and it was just really good to get like an in-person demo of how that worked, and to like meet and chat with Jen as well. Like it's just so nice, like being able to meet people in the community. So maybe at some point I will do a demonstration of how these actually work. But yeah, definitely go and check out Generates. Yeah, and then they're made of wood, and then they come in this little metal tin, so there's no plastic, which is really nice, because a lot of sort of sewing tools and that can be quite plasticky. And they're made like local to Jen in Scotland as well. So it's really good to be able to chat with business owners, and they can like tell you about how their product works, and also like just give you more information about like how their business works, because it's really nice to be able to buy from small businesses that obviously have a kind of conscious approach to running their business in regards to like sustainability and ethical manufacturing and stuff. So that's the first little bag. So the Generates and Little Rosy Cheeks both were sharing the same stand, so that was another really nice thing as well, to see small businesses like supporting one another. So the next thing I got is not super exciting. It's just some like a selection of hand sewing needles and some pins. So there was a stall called Needles to Pins that like specialized in like sewing needles and pins. Basically, they had machine needles and all kinds of pins and stuff. So these are special glass head fine needles. So yeah, not the most exciting thing, but with the glass head ones, it means that if you like catch them with the iron, they're not going to melt. And also with the fine one, if you're using it with like a tightly woven fabric, then they're not going to like leave a big hole. So I've been having, like, mostly I like to use the sewing clips for doing seams and stuff, but then for certain things you can't use the clips, like darts and that. So it is good to have some decent pins, and they do get blunt, so it's worth like replacing them every now and then, because otherwise you can end up in like with snags in your nice fabric, which isn't what you want. So yeah, not a very exciting thing, but just a reminder that if you need to replace your pins, maybe now's the time. Okay, what have I got more in my little bag of wonders? Okay, buttons. So I bought so many buttons at the Knitting and Stitching show, but I just couldn't help myself because there were very gorgeous ones on offer. So I met up with Louise from Ethel and Joan, and she was really lovely, and her parents were helping on the stall as well, which is really nice. and her buttons are like hand cast resin buttons. So I got these lovely daisy buttons. So I'm kind of considering, some of you, if you watch my previous videos, will know that I've just started getting into knitting. So I've started thinking about, could I knit a cardigan? So I might save these and put them on a cardigan, because I think that would be so cute on a knitted cardigan. Maiden Maida on Instagram, whose name is Grace, she's knitted a cardigan, like a light blue one with some daisy buttons. So I might copy her idea with this. And then the other buttons that I got from Ethel and Joan are these gorgeous, they're like clear with golden flecks inside. So these ones are part of their upcoming festive range. So I don't think they're released online yet, but if you're interested in some lovely, luxurious, golden looking buttons, keep an eye out on Ethel and Joan for those. There's also the same in silver as well. So those are really nice. So that was what I bought from Ethel and Joan. They also had like bigger buttons for coats and earrings with buttons and hair slides and loads of amazing stuff. So yeah, that's my Ethel and Joan buttons. And then I also got buttons from Pigeon Wishes, which is another of my favourite button companies. So I got these pink and green ones, quite big buttons. I bought them just because I really loved the pink and green combo, and I didn't really have an idea for them when I bought them. But then when I got home, I started looking at my fabrics and what fabric I could pair them with, and I have this like pink kind of retro style print from Hey So Sister, which I think might look quite fabulous with these buttons, because there's obviously the background is pink and it's quite a similar colour pink to what's in the buttons, and then this green is sort of between these two greeny shades. So let me know if you think those would go well together. And I'm thinking I could make the Anthea blouse with the puff sleeves, because that's a pattern that I just bought off the Fold line, so that will be quite exciting. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. And then I also bought these buttons, like smaller, more shirting size buttons, that I'm going to use on a project that I can't tell you about yet because it's going to be for a blog post. But yeah, I guess this is a sort of sneak peek if you're looking at the colours in this. I quite like that these shirting buttons come in like a clear packet, so obviously this is not the fabric that I pair it with, but you can like then just hold the whole pack up to your fabric to see if it would go, because with the buttons stuck on cards, sometimes you can't really tell if they're going to look good sitting on the fabric until you peel it off the card, and then if you decide against that button and fabric combo, then you've just got like a loose button because you can't always stick them back on the card. And so I think I've kept you in suspense for long enough about the fabric. So I didn't buy loads of fabric because I've kind of got to a stage now that I discussed in my previous video with my 5 questions 1 take, where I've like reached a stage with my sewing now where I'm not actually sewing as much as I was doing, like obviously when I was on furlough or working part-time. So now I'm back at work full-time and I don't have as much sewing time, and I can get a bit sort of stressed about my fabric building up. It's not like I feel guilty about buying it or anything, but it's more just like when you've got ideas and you're excited to make them but then you can't, it gets me like a bit frustrated. So I was conscious about not buying too much fabric when I was there because I don't want to like build up my stash and then it ends up just like stressing me out. So I bought a couple of things. So I bought this amazing rainbowy fabric from a store which I think was called Lily Fabrics, which was quite a big store, like in the middle of the exhibition. So they I hadn't heard of them before, but they must have quite a lot of fabrics because they had brought a lot to the exhibition. So it kind of looks sort of 3D, I guess, like when I'm looking at it on the screen with the waves. So this is like, I don't really know what it is, but it's it's like a woven, so that's the back, which looks quite cool still. It's like obviously not as bright. It's like a woven furnishing fabric. So I just bought a metre of this, I think it was £12, to make some cushion covers. So another thing that I said in my 5 questions, 1 take video was about how, because my sewing stuff is all set up on the dining table, we tend to eat on the sofa. So yeah, we have like cushions with white backgrounds, and that they're looking a little worse for wear, let's say, in regards to all the ketchup and bean sauce on them. So I thought if I make some fancy new cushion covers that will cover up all the sort of spillages on the ones that we have currently, and also where this is quite a colourful print. Hopefully, if there does end up being any more unfortunate incidents on these cushion covers, then at least maybe it won't be quite so noticeable. So yeah, that's the first piece of fabric that I bought. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to pre-wash this. I probably should, just to be good, in case I do end up needing to wash the cushion covers in the future. And yeah, I don't know yet if I'm going to go fancy and try and make some cushion covers with like piping, or whether to just keep it simple and do like an envelope cushion cover with no zip and just keep it simple. But let me know what your cushion preferences are. And then the other fabric that I bought is this is the wrong side. This green, it's like a forest green, but I don't know how well the colour's going to show up on the video, because I have tried to share some pictures of it, and it comes out not looking as nice. I think this is fairly accurate, but it's like this beautiful forest green needle cord that I got from Merchant and Mills. So it's really like nice and drapey and super soft, like especially on like the wrong side is so soft, so it's going to be really comfy to wear. And this one seemed quite popular because when I was eyeing it up, someone else picked up the bolt and took it to the table, and I was like, right, I'm following this person to the cutting table because I don't want to miss out on this. And they said they were thinking of making a dress, but I'm kind of considering making some trousers with it, because that's what's really missing in my wardrobe at the moment. I've got a lot of dresses and tops, but then I don't really have much to wear on the bottom. I think this fabric would actually look so cute with the these clear and gold Ethel and Joan buttons, but you know, for like a Christmassy sort of dress, like, I don't know, maybe a button-down Bakerloo or something, but then is that going to be wearable all year round? Whereas like trousers is something that I definitely actually need. So yeah, we'll see if I get sidetracked into making something else with this. I don't know if you'll be able to see the texture, but it's very beautiful. So yeah, I think Merchant and Mills was one of those stalls that was really worth going to, because most of my fabric I buy online, and Merchant and Mills is it can be quite pricey, the fabric, but it was really worth seeing it in person to like be able to feel it and know the quality of it. So they did have a lot of their linens as well, which they're famous for, and I was quite tempted. They had this like black and white gingham in like a larger scale and a smaller scale, so I was quite tempted by that, but it was £26 a metre, so I was like, not today. But yeah, it is something that I'm still thinking about. I might buy even for a particular project that I will tell you about in the future, but yeah, there was a lot of temptation that I resisted. So yeah, I did obviously I did buy quite a lot and spend quite a lot, but yeah, I'm trying to be good right now and not like overwhelm myself with so many fabrics and ideas. So the other thing that was at the Knitting and Stitching show, apart from all the stalls, they had a few like art exhibitions, which was really good to see actually. There was one that was really impressive, which was this sort of knitted panel, but it was massive. It was like 15 meters wide, and so I looked that up afterwards, and I'll put in a link below to the artist because I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they had knitted it like with a domestic knitting machine, so it wasn't hand done, but I don't think it would be possible to really to hand knit that. It would take so long, but even with a knitting machine it was over 300 hours work, and they've made this incredible like mountainscape but in like pink and cream. So I'll try and put in a picture, probably put in a picture from her website, the artist's website, rather than the picture I took, because it was really difficult to like take a picture that shows the scale of it. But that was really impressive. And then they had a few other sort of displays as well. Like there was one where the artist had sewn like, or like sort of done free motion embroidery type thing, I think, onto dissolvable fabric, and then they had like dissolved away the fabric and they ended up with these really delicate flowers that were basically just held together by how the threads were stitched over themselves, and then they'd all been hung on like invisible strings. So it was just this really beautiful sort of display, and then they were all kind of like swaying a little bit, you know, when people walked past and there was a little breeze. So that was really amazing to see. And it's just quite inspiring to see art, like using your craft, but in a way that you sort of hadn't considered before. Like, and you maybe would never even do. Like, I'm never going to knit a 15-meter panel, but it's like just really impressive to see what's possible with, you know, with your hobby, if you approach it from a different way. So they also had loads of other stuff, like they had like a self-portrait competition where people had used, I don't really know what the brief was like, but I think it was just do a self-portrait using textiles. So there were like lots of different takes on the brief. So that was really interesting to see how different people had approached it. And then there was another piece that was using like sort of like mixed media. I don't really know what it's called. I think they described it as like textile and ephemera. So they had, it was fabric, but also like sort of bits of packaging, and there was a thing of collars where they'd made loads of different collars out of different things, and some of them had like, one of the collars was made out of like an old paper map, and so I think the sort of theme of it was like nostalgia. So they had, you know, products from when they were a child and stuff like that, and then there was like, I don't know, a nightgown that was embroidered with like a letter from a relative and a recipe, where they'd obviously traced on the handwriting and then stitched that on. So it was just really special to see those sorts of things. I went round the art exhibitions with Meg from Pigeon Wishes, and it was the first time that I'd met her in person. Like, so obviously we chatted a bit on Instagram, but meeting her at Stitch Show was really nice. That the Knitting and Stitching Show is on sometime towards the end of November in Harrogate. So if you're local to that and you haven't got a ticket, I would recommend going because there's a lot. I also forgot to mention that there is a huge list of different workshops that you can do at the Knitting and Stitching Show. So this time I didn't do any of the classes because there weren't, like, the Sunday was the only day that I was actually free to go, and there weren't any classes that caught my eye. But if there's anything particular that you're interested in learning, it's worth checking out what classes are on when you're planning to go. So I did do a beginners pajama bottom making workshop when I went to the Stitch Festival, which was like right at the start of 2020. So I was very new to sewing then. I'd like never made any garments before. But then it wasn't as like beginnery as I had expected. So then they were trying to get me to do French seams, and I could like barely do normal seams. So that was a bit hectic for me. But I've heard really good things about the classes at these types of Knitting and Stitching Show and the Stitch Festival. So yeah, definitely check out the lists if you're interested in learning anything new. And there's another thing that they had was you could test out different sewing machines as well. So if you're in the market for a new machine, it's quite a good opportunity to test out the different brands and see if you get on with them. So I didn't end up testing any machines. I said to myself that I would, but then I got a bit nervous to sit and try any of them. But yeah, definitely something that's worth looking at. So maybe next time I go, I'll try try out some machines. I just didn't want to get tempted to buy one. That's the only thing, because some of them are quite expensive, especially like the embroidery machines and stuff. You can really break the bank with those. So yeah, there's a lot that you can see and do and experience at the knitting and stitching show. So yeah, definitely would recommend. It was a bit overwhelming, especially when you first arrive and you're like, what am I going to look at? But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's my experience of the knitting and stitching show. So yeah, if you went to the knitting and stitching show in Alexandra Palace recently, or if you are planning to go to the Harrogate one, do let me know in the comments, and let me know what you're planning to buy or what you already bought if you went recently. And yeah, I'll let you know what I, when I end up sewing up this fabric and using these notions, I'll let you know how that goes in my future videos. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you are enjoying my channel. But yeah, stick around and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Bye.